Today I'm going to be working in my creative commonplace journal. Again, I'm absolutely loving the mix and match of visual inspiration and just collecting quotes and ideas in this journal. So if you haven't seen this journal before, I'll leave a link down below. I've got a playlist where I show the process of working in these different pages, but essentially I am approaching it from the mindset of curiosity and just what do I find interesting, and then how can I include that on these journal pages. So there's copying out of quotes here, so a lot more writing compared to some of my other journals where I will just do art journaling and have the collage and paint and papers and not so much focused on the writing. And I'm finding this is a good balance for me in terms of having the writing but not having it just be writing. So it's allowing me to be a bit more creative with the hand lettering and with stamping and how I actually add the quotes to the page as well. So working within the negative space, which is something that I think I mentioned in the last video that I did of this creative commonplace journal. And so I'm just really leaning into that eclectic vibe of the junk journal that I've put together and how I can just have this mix and match, like I said, of different things. So the quotes that I'm collecting and the snippets that I'm taking from different books, they're definitely all focused on a theme of creativity. So, whilst I'm not too worried about the organization of things and having, like, I've seen obviously commonplaces that'll have a, a table of contents, they'll have an index to be able to find things. This is definitely more me dipping in and out of this and just collecting things that are falling in that general theme of creativity. I think just because that's what originally sparked this journal as part of my Catalysts and Curiosities newsletter, which you can sign up for free. I'll leave a link down below if you are interested. I've actually put together the post for this week is some close-up shots of my Creative Commonplace book. So if you're interested in having a closer look at some of these pages and how I am working within this, then I will leave that linked down below for you to check out. But yeah, I'm just using different papers and just jotting down things that interest me and things that I want to save, because yeah, it's so easy to come across all these different things and not actually do something with them. So, with the quotes that I pulled out in this little session of creative commonplacing, one that I wanted to include was from a book that I read recently called Do Interesting by Russell Davies. And the quote says, "Pursue more than one interest, stick things that look different next to each other, move things around, make something a fixed point, and move other ideas, objects, pictures around it to see what happens. Make your interests messy. This is how slow hunches happen. It's also a really good creative shortcut." And I just thought that that was so perfect, especially in the context of us as junk journalers, as art journalers. Like, that is what it's all about, is trying different things and moving stuff around to see what fits. And that one thing that you might add to a page could be something that sparks a completely different idea. So that is the quote that I actually decided to include on the inside cover, because I just felt that it really spoke to the feeling that I'm trying to explore with this whole journal of looking at different things and what I find interesting and how I can put it all together, basically. All of these separate bits of inspiration and pull them together to create this commonplace journal. And then I actually lettered underneath on the tag there a collection of slow moments, because I felt like that really was what I was trying to get at as well with this journal. And then in the gap there that I had with that label, I decided to use these number stamps just to add the date. So May 2025, which is when I started this journal, and then I figured I could come in at the end when I finished it and add the date that I finished this journal. So like I'm even adding in here little ink swatches that I've done in previous journals. I just thought they would be good as colour inspiration. And so the other quote that I added at the start was actually a Virginia Woolf quote, but it was in this Do Interesting book as well. And she was talking about her ideal diary. And she said, I should like it to resemble some deep old desk or capacious holdall in which one flings a mass of odds and ends without looking them through. I should like to come back after a year or two and find that the collection has sorted itself and refined itself and coalesced, as such deposits so mysteriously do. And again, I just thought that was so perfect in the context of this type of journaling. And also, wouldn't it be so amazing if you were to just like dump all of these creative odds and ends on a page and, closed your book and then miraculously they did, have that like moment where you just think, that is what this was supposed to be. But I just thought that again was perfect for this journal. So I added it with my Tombow brush pen, and then I'm just going in and adding bits of washi tape and labels in the gaps as well, just to add a bit more visual interest to this journal as well. So as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff going on here on my desk, and that's because I'm going to be working in my mini little junk journal again. So this is a junk dory made by Grace and Salt Ink. So full disclaimer, Rebecca, who makes these, did gift this to me, and I have been working in all the different pages. So it comes with papers in it, and then I've also been adding lots of like junk and scraps to it. And so I'll leave a link down below if you want to see the first video where I started working in this. But as you can see, it's got super chunky, and I've just been collecting like bits and pieces that I maybe potentially wouldn't put in my like regular junk journals, but I thought that would be perfect for this sort of format. If you can kind of see what I'm going with anything that is like hole punched and things. So I wanted to maybe just spend some time adding pages, or even adding to the pages that are already in there. There's no two pages that are the same, and they are all from different papers. So it's a really fun journal to dip in and out of when I have like 5 minutes or so to work in. So that's why I've got this collection of papers and random assortment of stuff really, but like, that's the junk journal way, isn't it? So that's what I've got. And I also wanted to show you something quite exciting that I came across. So in the spirit of random stuff, and all this is just like junk packaging, completely free, I found some cardboard boxes that were outside of a shop with a sign that literally said, pretty boxes, free, help yourself. And of course, who am I to say no? I'm sure you would have snapped some up as well. So they are just like packing boxes from, I think, mugs, but like, as you can see already, like, look, you wouldn't turn these down. So I can definitely see myself doing something with these. So I just folded them up, and I'm not going to be able to include them all on screen all at once, but just so you can see the patterns. Like, does this not scream to you junk journal cover? Like, can you imagine like cutting it out to this size and using that as a junk journal cover? And then there's two, so I could either do this pattern maybe on the back, or I could use some of these as well. Maybe I could make some tabs or some cards. I don't know, like as soon as I saw them, I was immediately just like, my brain was like spinning with all different ideas of things to do. So I really loved this. So I was either thinking like a full cover with this, or maybe I could cut it in half and make the full book and do like a smaller book. And then, I mean, this lends itself to tabs, I think. So there was this one which I really loved, and there was also a couple more. So I kind of got like one of each, but I was just like, these are so pretty. So this is the other pattern here, which I really loved as well. Unfortunately, it's got obviously the writing on the box, in the middle on this one, so I'd have to cut this one a little bit shorter. But again, I think I could easily get some more junk journal covers out of these, and there's this design as well on the back, so there's a fair amount of pattern to cut out of this. So I don't know, maybe I'll do a video where I'll just take each of these boxes and just see like how much we can make out of one box. Like, can I make a journal and some cards and use all of the bits, like not even just the patterned bits, but maybe also some of the cardboard as well. So yes, I'm definitely looking forward to using these within my journals and in my projects. And so let me know if you want to see how I use these, because I was just so excited when I saw those. So there you go, that's like a true junk journal moment where you can literally find things anywhere if you are on the lookout. So yeah, really loved those. I have a few different papers and things here that I thought I could either use to add to the ones I've already got, or things that are already hole punched. I mean, they just lend themselves perfectly to being a page in and of themselves. But I thought that even like the tape that they've used on this, because it's kind of a matte tape, would just be perfect to, I don't know, add to a page and have as some texture. Now, of course, it's not pulling off the way I wanted it to, because I'm filming it and people are watching, and the tape is not going to behave whilst I'm doing this. I swear I pulled this off like a little bit before and thought, oh, this would be perfect, and now as soon as I'm trying to do it in front of people on camera, it doesn't like it. Oh, there we go. Have I got it? Nope. Oh, there we go. Nope, it's all pulling off in little bits. Oh, there we go. Nope, doesn't like that. So I figured I would lean into having the hole punch be on the side here, and I quite like it's like a bit of a matte, like smooth material for the packaging, so I thought that I could lean into that. So let's add, I don't know, should we add that here maybe? And I'm enjoying having the pages being like different shapes and sizes, so I thought I'd add this one here so you can see things that are peeking from behind as well. And I also have a little tag here, so I thought maybe I could add this one to maybe one of the pages that doesn't have anything on it yet. And I've truly got all sorts here. I've got like photo backing paper, I've got bits of packaging, I've got from my crochet projects, I've got some packaging which I thought the pattern would be quite nice to use as, I don't know, just something to add some interest, or just like to get started with a page so that you don't have to worry too much about having something to respond to. So now I have a page that has some interest on the other side, so I thought that, yeah, for any that are maybe a little bit plainer, I could just come in and add the packaging to the back of them and add bits and pieces to it. So here's like another one where it's a little bit plainer on the reverse, packaging from boxes. I told you it's all super random stuff, but unfortunately I don't let any of it go to waste. And the great thing about these is that like they are literally the perfect size for this journal. So let's back this one onto it, and then I think I might add maybe another one, just brown paper on its own as well, just as another piece of packaging. Good thing about this is obviously I can like move things around depending on what might look best with the different papers that I add to it. And I'm just going to rip it at the edges here because I quite like that scrappy look to this. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect at all, to the right length. And you can see there we've got the interest of having the brown paper on the reverse of the paper now, like so. So let's just hole punch that so we can add it back into the journal. And I might need to come in with a paper clip. I haven't got one to hand right now, but just to hold that down until it manages to sit in place. And if some of them are a little bit thinner as well, adding a backing to it will obviously make it more sturdy as well, which is good for working on top of. And I might leave some imperfect edges as well, because I think that could look quite nice. Again, just leaning into that like scrappy nature of this type of journal. Let's do another one here as well. And I might add actually this just scrap piece of note paper onto the back of this one, just for something a little bit different. And I've just folded that on itself, so I've got the pink onto this side, and then I've also got the map onto the reverse there, so that gives an interesting page to work on as well. Something else I've got that I thought might be a really unique idea for a page, so I've got the backing of a sticker here. It was kind of like a large stamp shape, as you can kind of see from the reflection, and what I thought I could do is punch a hole into this to make it a page. So I've just punched a hole into it there. You're not going to be able to see that very well. So I thought this would make a nice page, for example, in here. Again, you're not going to be able to see this at all. Well, you kind of can. But what I thought it would make is a really cool floating page within this journal. So what I'm going to do is add some like bits of collage and some stickers on top of it, so you can see the collage, but then you can see the page, but the idea is that you kind of can't see the page itself, and so then it will create a layer over the top of the previous page here. So, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy as well. I just thought I could add like a couple of bits, like a few scraps, few paper scraps, and then add a like label sticker on top, so you can see how quickly something like this can come together. So I'm just going to do 3 little bits of paper collage here, a little bit of a cluster in the center, and then I'm going to come in with a label sticker. So let's just find one that isn't too big, that it's going to cover up all of the collage that I've just added onto it there. Oh, I was like, isn't that one perfect? And it's literally the same as the one I've already pulled out. That might be why. It might have to be that one. And of course you could always like cut something out of paper and stick this on. You don't have to have like a specific label sticker. I just thought, because I knew I had these, that they would work quite well. I think that one's going to be the smallest one that's going to work. See, this one's nice as well, but it kind of covers up all of the paper that I've added to it. I realise when I get these out that I look like an advert for Note and Wish, but I promise you, bought them myself. I'm just a massive fan of Note and Wish. So yeah, that's where these labels are from, if you are wondering. Just added some little details there with a white pen. This is a Uniball Signo white pen, just in case you're wondering. And there is my little transparent piece, my little page, just from packaging. So you can kind of see there the outline of it. Obviously you can see it a lot better in person, but I'm just trying to show you how it looks there. So it's almost like a floating little collage, and it sits perfectly then within this junk journal. So you can see there, that's what it looks like on the page itself. So it's not attached to what is behind it. So I can still add maybe some writing or something like that, but then this is kind of the little floating page then over the top. So one of the other things I wanted to do, you might have been looking at this square punch that I've got. I thought this would be perfect for maybe doing a punch out of one of these pages, because obviously the square is you know, in comparison to the size of the page, I thought it could be quite cool to maybe do like a sort of cut out moment, and then you can see what's on the pages behind. So let's maybe do it on this, just because what's better than having like a see-through page and then a see-through page on top of that. So let's see if this works as well as I thought that it would in my head, because you know, there's always the danger that it looks really cool in your head, but then in reality it doesn't pan out that way. But let's see. The only way to find out is to have a go at it. So I figured I could do maybe 3. There, they're not even, but that doesn't matter. So there we go. I've kind of punched out some holes in this page, and of course, I mean, we've got the little squares here that I can definitely use on other things. But that way then, there we go, we can see through into the pages underneath. And look, it's like I planned it. The little flower peeks through, but you can see all of the pages underneath, and I just think that's really cool. So I might do that on some of the other pages, but then, I mean, of course, it works on the reverse as well. So when I do something on this page, we'll be able to see through it as well. So I just thought that was a like really easy, quick little thing to do with a journal like this, and like an easy way to add interest as well, especially to pages that have such layers to them. So, you know, one like this, for example, I think is primed for something like this. So let's just do this. And I think the fun thing as well, because you can't see what it's going to look like until it's actually done. So it's always a little bit of a surprise as well. So yeah, I just thought that could be a fun idea to explore with a journal like this. And of course I get the little squares as well to play with. Who knows, maybe we can go full circle, and maybe they're the sort of thing that I can include within this commonplace journal here, just as little scraps in some of the corners where we don't have anything. Like, you know, maybe I could just add them and see what that looks like, just as a way of exploring different ideas and collecting things. I don't know, let's put those down. This is the thing about, like, you kind of just have to go, do you know what, let's just see what it looks like, and if it looks rubbish, then we'll turn the page or we'll do something else, because truly you're not going to find out until you actually just do it. And I feel like that's the kind of mentality that I'm trying to remind myself of a lot lately, is like, you have to actually just show up and do the random thing in your journal. And they're not all going to work, but, you know, one might, and then that sparks an idea, and you just, you know, you can follow it down that path and come up with something that you probably wouldn't have had you not been a little bit courageous and thought, I'm going to explore this particular idea, even if it seems a little bit daft and a little bit random. So yeah, I don't know, like, you know, maybe I might start adding like clusters of like square things in my journal now. You just don't know. So let's just add these bits and pieces to my page. And I'm just trying to have this book as really being like a collection of bits and pieces and things that I can use as inspiration. Because yeah, like, I wouldn't have thought to, if I want to fill this gap, like, oh, I'm gonna use a hole punch and do some squares and layer them like that, and have some with text and some with flowers. That's just come from working in this journal. And so I actually quite like the way that it looks, and you can have that contrast then, I suppose, between the things that are torn and then the things that have more of a like the straight edges and a bit more uniform. So I don't know, and if nothing else, then I've kept those little bits of paper and used them as decoration here. So I hope you enjoyed joining me for working in these different journals, and I will see you in the next one.